Welcome back. You're watching Investors Guide on ET Now. Thank you for staying with us. We brought in Suresh Surana this week to answer all of the questions you sent in on tags. Suresh, thank you for joining us. Our first question comes in from S. Rupchand, who writes in, 57 years old, retired, invests only in fixed deposits, but he tells us he's paying between 20 and 30% tax on his interest income, and he's worried that that will erode his savings and make him vulnerable to inflation. That's true. It will do both of those things. So he wants some innovative tax-saving tips for the current year. Suresh, would you help him out, please?
Right. So, Mr. Rupchand, the bank interest as such, is taxable. And the only thing which you can do, one is if you put the money in long-term, fixed deposit with bank, which is 5 years or more maturity, then that is eligible for deduction under Section 80C up to rupees 1.5 lakhs. So even though interest will be taxable, but you will get the deduction for the principal amount. Similarly, there are other investment, like there is a senior citizen savings scheme 2004, where because you have taken a premature voluntary retirement, you could be eligible to invest in that. Otherwise, normally it is only applicable to people above the age of 60 years. But for people who have taken VRS or who have retired on superannuation, even after 55, you can avail of this scheme. And there the rate of interest you get is 9.3%. Again, it is taxable. Some of the other things which are happening now, the government is trying to raise money for the Indian Railways and for the National Highway Authority of 40,000 crores of tax-free bonds, where the rate will be 7 to 7.3%, and which will be completely tax-free. So that, I think, could be an interesting option to you. If you have risk appetite, obviously equities have, from tax point of view, the dividend is free, and if you hold it for more than 1 year, long-term capital gain on sale of share is tax-free.
Our next question comes in from Praveen, who's written in. He's saying he owns a plot of land near Pune, which he's held for more than 10 years. He'd like to sell that plot of land and use the money to buy property outside of India. What are the taxation implications of something like that? Obviously, long-term capital gains tax, Suresh?
As far as buying property outside India is concerned, there is a scheme of the Reserve Bank of India, what is called liberalized remittance scheme. So up to $125,000 each year person can remit, which can be used for any purpose, including buying of the property outside India. There was an announcement that this limit is increased to $250,000, but till date, actually, it has not been notified. Now, as far as your sale proceeds from Pune land is concerned, the exemption is available only if you invest in residential property in India. If you are investing outside India, earlier that benefit was available, but now after the amendment, that benefit is not available to house outside India. You will have to pay 20% long-term capital gains tax on the sale of land after calculating the index cost.
Our next question comes in from Nick Gandhi, who writes in saying that he is a person of Indian origin with a US citizenship who's been living in India for the last 5 years. He has a home back in the States and a few other investments. Now, he says he's possibly going to continue to live in India for the next 5 years, after which he plans to move back to the States. He's curious to understand the implications of the newly proposed legislation on black money, on undisclosed income and assets, on expats like him. He wants to know what this means. Suresh, could you help him out?
Yeah, your global assets have to be reported, including your house in the US and your whatever other assets are there. In fact, the requirement of reporting has come in 2012 itself, that as an Indian resident, if you have any asset outside India, you need to report, including bank account, and one must ensure that there is a complete compliance. You are also aware that in US there is a similar law which is called the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act, which is basically what is called FATCA in short, that where US citizens have to report their global assets in the US now. So I think all over the world, the regulatory oversight over the assets which are outside their home country is increasing in a very, very big way. And you have to be very conscious and make sure that you make the full compliance of all this.
All right, so you can get in touch with us if you have any questions. There's an email ID at the bottom of your screen. You can also reach me personally on Twitter. It'll be my absolute pleasure to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching Investors Guide. Catch you next week.